Hey there, Evie here. Welcome back to the channel. First of all, I'd like to give a big shout out to all my new subscribers. Thank you to everyone that's taken time to hit that subscribe button and watch my other videos. I truly appreciate it. Now let's jump right into this video. Now thinking about focus when it came to these portraits, it made me start thinking, does a photo have to hit focus for it to be a good photo? It's something I've been really struggling with for a couple of months now because I shoot a lot of street photography, and I wanted to share my thoughts with you on this particular topic. For the purposes of this video, I want to define what I mean by hitting focus. Hitting focus is when the subject that you intended to be in focus is in focus, and when you miss focus or when you get a blurry image that you didn't intend to take is when you didn't hit focus, which is obvious, but I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page of what I mean by hidden focus. As I said, for the past couple of months, I've been shooting a lot of street photography. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Now, when it comes to shooting street photography, sometimes, especially because I shoot film, you don't always have like 400 or 800 ISO film. Sometimes you have 100, sometimes you have 50. And I found myself shooting at shutter speeds that I wouldn't normally shoot at. Usually I like to shoot at least f5.6 as 250th of a second. And you can't always shoot that, especially here in Canada. Sometimes we have good light, sometimes we don't. I ended up shooting at slow shutter speeds with a slow ISO film, and I get blurry images. And whenever I got these images back, I always discarded them because I didn't think they were good enough. And to understand why I think that way, you have to understand that I came from a background of shooting real estate, of shooting weddings, of shooting portraits. And in those jobs, if your photo is not in focus, the photo is not good enough. So I always ended up deleting all those photos, or at least discarding them in my mind. But over the past couple of months, I've gone back and I started looking at all these photos, mostly because I've started developing myself. I started scanning myself. I started editing myself. Now I've even started printing photos myself. So going back, taking a look at all of these photos, it just made me start thinking, does a photo have to be in focus for it to be a good photo? And honestly, I don't think so. After taking a look at all these photos, after taking a look at all the photos that I do actually like, some of them are a little blurry, they're not always tag sharp, and even taking a look at some of the greats in photography, some of their works are not always in focus. And it made me start thinking, what do I define as a good photo? And having taken time to think about that, I think there are three main things that make a photo good. And I don't mean great, I just mean like good. The first thing being, is the exposure right on the photo? Does it have good exposure? If it doesn't have good exposure, then obviously you can't use it, right? If it's overexposed, if it's underexposed, you can't use it. If it's properly exposed, then yeah, you have a chance to use it, so it could be a good photo. The second thing being composition. Composition for me is very important. If you have a good composition, you're more likely to draw your viewer in, and it can lead to an overall better photo. And the third thing being a story. Does the photo tell a story? Does it tell some sort of funny story? Is it good? Does it draw the viewer in? Does it say what you wanted it to say at the moment when you were taking the photo? If those three things are present, I strongly believe that a photo is a good photo, because it doesn't matter if the photo is in focus or not. And for me, it's been a struggle to get to this point where I am now. And as I said, I spent a lot of years making sure that every single photo that I took was in focus. Now getting to this point where I'm like, yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be in focus, but I'm not even saying that I'm going out there trying to take blurry, out of focus images. All I'm saying is that if the photo happens to be blurry, if it happens to be not in focus, I'm not just going to immediately discard it because it's not that. Now, I know there's a craze here among photographers on YouTube, like getting sharp images, getting tech sharp images, how to get your settings right so you can get super sharp images. Now, I understand that there's jobs, there's situations where you have to hit focus. Now, I'm not speaking to those situations where you have to hit focus. I'm speaking to those in-between moments where you're trying to take candid photography and street photography, even in your daily life. Does the photo have to be in focus? I don't think so, right? And it took me, as I said, it took me a long time to get here. I printed out some of the photos. I put it together, a compilation, and you've seen some of them in this video. I showed it to a couple of my friends. I showed it to a couple of my photographer friends, and he said, you know what? These images are good enough. I'm not saying they're Pulitzer Prize winning photos. All I'm saying is that they don't deserve to be discarded simply because they're out of focus. yeah, those are my thoughts on this whole thing. I'm going to be posting on my blog, filmstarco.com, some of these photos so you can see them bigger, better. I don't know. Check out my blog, filmstarco.com. And if you like this type of content, make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe, as this goes a very long way to making sure I produce more content like this. Until next time, make sure you stay safe, make sure you shoot film, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.